big picture first and foremost, when you build a draft profile for a player, you're using a lot of elements. You're using the video you saw, you're using interviews, people you talk to, workouts, physicals, combine, all of that, in one shell. How much is lost because of what we've seen right now? What percentage of the full draft profile do the teams not have?
I think it's honestly all dependent right now, Steve, in terms of where you were in your evaluation of a player. I mean, think about all the pro days. The days where a general manager or a scout go to say a lower level college because they know of one player. And they go and they look at that one player, and all of a sudden 3 other guys jump out at the pro day. And all of a sudden, you know what they say? Maybe there's something there. And then they go back and they watch the film and they look at this and they look at that. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Maybe we want to invest in this kid. I mean, that was the old story with Rex Ryan and the Jets' old fullback, John Connor, where he was a player that Rex was scouting someone else, and he just happened to see the fullback blowing guys up. So we went and said, you know what? I like this guy. Let's bring him in. So you're going to have guys that are hurt by this with the medical red flag. You're going to have guys that are hurt by this that were relying on sometimes the pro days of others to pique the interest of scouts and general managers when they're allowed to be on the same big stage as them. And it's going to be a unique experience, and it's going to be a very different experience for piecing together a draft board.
Is it clear that the Jets really only have 2 ways to go? They have to help Sam Darnold out either by protecting him or by giving him a playmaker.
I think in the first round, that's what this is coming. Actually, you could say that within the first 2 rounds with their first round pick and their second round pick. It's either going to be offensive line receiver, or it's going to be receiver offensive line. And I think what's unique and different about this year's draft with the Jets is that while they have one of those top tier picks, a top 11 pick is pretty good in the draft, and you're going to get a pretty good player there, is that they don't necessarily know who's going to be there, right? I mean, in their perfect world, they're going to have Mekhi Becton, from Louisville, or they're going to have Jedrick Wills from Alabama. One of those 2 guys, considered the top 2 tackles in the draft, they're going to fall to the Jets, and the Jets are happy with one or the other. But you don't really know what's necessarily going to happen with those first 10 picks for who's going to be there for the Jets, because there's a chance Becton's there. There's a chance Wills is there. There's a chance Wirfs from Iowa is there. There's a chance that none of them are there, and then the Jets are going to have to go with the number 4 tackle in Andrew Thomas. And if that's the case, the debate that Joe Douglas and Adam Gase and everyone within that Jets brain trust are going to have is that, do you take the 4th best tackle, or do you take one of the top 2-3 receivers in CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and then Henry Ruggs? I mean, do you happen to go that route instead? And I think that what this is ultimately going to come down to, Steve, honestly, is what the Giants do at that pick in the first round. Because right now, you read some mocks about the Giants, you talk to some Giants reporters and things like that, they're saying that they're kind of between that linebacker Simmons from Clemson and maybe one of those tackles being Becton or Wills. Well, if the Giants go with Simmons, you're almost guaranteeing that either Wills or Becton or Wirf are going to be there for the Jets, and they're not going to have to worry about the whole debating Andrew Thomas. They're going to have one of those guys. And the one thing I would not rule out is that if the Jets are sitting there at number 11 and the 3 top tackles are gone, but the top 2 receivers are there, it would not surprise me in the slightest to see the Jets potentially try to move back 3 or 4 picks, get another draft pick, and then kind of go out there and get Henry Ruggs. Because the one thing that Adam Gase absolutely loves with receivers is speed. He loves having speed on the outside. He wants to build a receiving core like the Kansas City Chiefs have with Tyreek Hill and all those fast guys where you see everyone's running a 4.2. Well, Ruggs is that guy. That's the only guy in this draft that's running that fast. That's the only guy in this draft that's capable of doing some of the things that a lot of these other or capable of doing the things that Adam Gase wants. I don't necessarily believe that Ruggs is worth the number 11 pick in the draft. Especially not if CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy are there. But if the possibility opens up for Joe Douglas, who wants more picks than not, to maybe move back 3 or 4 slots, get an extra 3rd round pick, get an extra 2nd round pick, although that might be a little steep, and then get the receiver that probably fits best within Gase's offense, I think that's possible as well if those top 3 tackles are gone.
Is there a player and or position that would inspire the Jets to go in a different way than wide
Trading
receiver?
up, you mean?
Well, is there a player that if he falls, the Jets would say, you know what, maybe left tackle, maybe wide receiver can be put on hold for this guy?
Yeah, Chase Young. I mean, but obviously there's no shot.
That's the one name.
He's not going. Chase Young. The other one that I would be very intrigued is the corner from Ohio State, someone who a lot of scouts believe is one of the can't miss prospects, a guy that's going to be locked down, think Jalen Ramsey level type corner. If he started to fall there and got to 11 for some weird, I think all the offensive tackles go. One of the teams takes a receiver when you don't expect it. Teams trade up to get the quarterback. So we usually have 3 potential quarterbacks there going within the first round or within the first 10 picks there when you talk about Herbert and you talk about Tua. And then obviously Joe Burrow is going to be the number 1 pick. And who knows what's going to happen with Love. I mean, that's another guy who could potentially shake this up if the right guy falls in love with him. You saw no one in the world thought Daniel Jones was going to go as high as he did last year. Dave Gettleman fell in love with him. And when you fall in love with a quarterback, you take the quarterback. So maybe that could happen with Love. You don't really know. Maybe that could lead to that corner slipping and sliding down there to the Jets. But I just don't necessarily – I think that's the one where maybe there'll be a little pause. But still, I mean, you have to protect your franchise quarterback. He's now going into year 3. He's never been healthy an entire season. Even after the mono, the hits led to Sam Darnold injuring his thumb. So you have a thumb injury with him. He's already dealt with a leg injury, with a foot injury his rookie year. He's had the mono, which is the fluke thing you can throw out. But still, you got to protect the kid. You can protect him with weapons. You can protect him with the offensive line. A corner would help the Jets. Chase Young would help the Jets. I think Chase Young's where everything's thrown out the window. You just take the kid. But I think that you need more than anything else to help Sam Darnold. And you help Sam Darnold by getting him some offensive line help, and you help Sam Darnold by getting him weapons. And that's kind of priority 1, 2, and 3 for the Jets. And while they might think, I still think you just have to go corner or you have to go with receiver. Or I'm sorry, offensive lineman or receiver.
It'd be a tough sell to the Jets fans to go out and pick a defensive player with the first pick this year. Exactly. Connor Hughes with The Athletic. Make sure you follow him on Twitter and sign up for The Athletic to get all of his updates. Should be an interesting week in the NFL. All right. Thanks a lot, Connor. I really appreciate your time.
No problem, Steve. Thanks for having me on.